Support for the Couples Council comes from Mercier Wellness and Consulting. Their purpose is to equip you with the right skills for a happy and healthy relationship. Schedule your consultations now. For more information, visit mercierwellness.com. Mercier Wellness and Consulting. Small steps, big changes.
This podcast is not a substitute for therapy. Please consult a licensed professional for your mental health needs. Now on with the show.
Hello again, babe.
Hey, honey.
Welcome back to the podcast.
I know, I'm back.
I think I'm beginning to feel special because this is like a bit frequent.
I know.
I kind of got used to you not being around.
Oh, you didn't get used to me not being around. You love when I'm around.
Yeah.
And you love when I'm on the mic with you. So come on, let's do it.
Yeah. So we are continuing this little series, I guess a bit of a mini series that we're doing, talking to couples. I want to say ordinary couples, but no couple is ordinary. Every couple has their own unique flair.
And every couple is a relationship goal, as long as they're willing to work it.
Yes, you're your own hashtag,
yep.
For sure. And so every couple is unique in their own way. But we're not talking to experts now. I'm not babbling on about God knows what. We are letting couples tell you their story. Mm-hmm. And so if you've not gotten caught up on this, you want to go back a couple of episodes and start listening with our dear friends, the Rogers.
Yeah.
Okay, go back and listen to the Rogers, and they're a great listen. They will have you laughing and have you tearing up. That's an episode. Start there.
With that being said, I'm super excited today that we're going to have Jenkins Fresh. Did I say that right? Jenkins Fresh?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to record it again. Just a moment, guys.
Baby, you're killing me here. You're killing me here.
You just edit it out.
Let me do it.
Okay, then you do it. But I got to say how I met Vivian and all this stuff.
I will cue you in.
Okay, cue me in. Not go ahead.
Follow the producer. Okay. Y'all forgive her.
It's okay.
Okay, go. I'm
All
good.
right.
I'm good.
So after you've listened to that piece, then you'll be ready to hear this lovely couple on today's episode. Now, I must be honest. They are more friends with Herdine than with me, but you never know how you connect with people, right? We're talking about Michael and Vivianne Jenkins.
Yes, Michael and Vivianne Jenkins. But I first have to be honest. I met Vivianne and worked with Vivianne many moons ago, right, Vivianne? How long ago?
Yeah.
And I met her through my cousin, Helinda.
Okay.
Yeah, so you know Elle. And then in meeting, so everybody kind of connects. And then in meeting Vivianne, I think I met Michael, but I think I met Michael before I knew Michael and Vivianne were together.
Oh.
Because I think I met Michael briefly at Elijah Bell's funeral home.
When you thought you wanted to be a funeral director?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so we've been moving in circles around each other is what it sounds like.
Yep. Yes.
Yep.
Okay, good. Well, welcome to the show, guys. Welcome to the show. I'm glad you guys You guys agreed to be on and are willing to share a little bit about your journey as a couple, what that's looked like, what you've learned, how you've changed. So if we'll just start, if you guys could introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about you.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, my name is Vivianne Jenkins, and I am, where do I start? I'm an educator. I also am the wife of this handsome man sitting next to me, Michael Jenkins. I am a mother of 3. We together have a 3-year-old son and 1-year-old twin. So There's never a dull moment. There's many facets to my life, but I would say the one taking up most of my time right now is probably, being a mother, just being parent. So that's a transition, in marriage that, we're going through and dealing with right now as far as just, parenting, because kids take up a lot of your time. And though your spouse is supposed to come first, it's a journey to find that balance of that really, taking place, especially when you have such small children. So
Oh yeah. Yep. Facts for sure. And Michael, what about you? Tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah. Well, good day, everybody. Thank you so much for having us. I have to pause and say that I'm so honored by my wife's introduction and overwhelmed because look here, I have been without a haircut for quite some weeks now. So when she says
both,
handsome, I'm very honored by that because the barber is calling. For those that didn't know what I'm talking about,
Nice. Oh, but, we know. We understand.
Yes. But I'm so grateful for this beautiful young lady sitting next to me. I am the husband of my beautiful wife, Michael, and I'm also working education as well. And I'm just honored, and I'm still glad that she said yes to me. I think the biggest transition, just to piggyback off what my wife said, it's been somewhat challenging with the quarantine, having small children and working from home and balancing that. And that's where we are just currently where we are right now. But that's what I do. I love young people, and I like to see young people thrive, and I like to see young people happy.
Okay. So
Did I talk too much?
No, trust me, we can talk all day. Listen, you guys have been together how long?
Oh God.
Well, we met in 2011. We got engaged in 2012. We got married in 2013, and we just celebrated 7 years of marriage in February of this year.
Okay.
So altogether, we've been together going on 10 years, almost 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah, you blink and it's 10 years.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, good. 10 years. And so a year of courtship, give or take. Tell us what that was like.
Wait. Before you even tell us what that was like, what was the mindset of you all being single and then finding love?
That's a big question.
Oh, well, for me, by the time I met Mike, I wouldn't say I'd given up on love, but I wasn't looking for it anymore. I had been through several relationships that didn't work out, and I was just drained. And I finally got to the moment where I told God that I would wait on him. So I basically told God, I don't care if I'm 58. When, you say it's time, and when you bring the man into my life, that is, when I want to get married. I didn't want to keep going through the same cycle. So I met Mike just a few months after I made that promise to God and told him that. So it really seemed too good to be true. And I feel horrible every time I talk about this because I really gave Mike a hard time in the beginning because of it. Because I just felt like it was too good to be true. I was waiting for him to mess up. And I guess you could pick up from there.
Wow.
Yeah.
For me, I wish I could say that mine was that that awesome. For me, I had, unfortunately, I did date prior to meeting my wife. But I think for me, and this is no shade, to her testimony or to anybody, but for me, I knew that I was not, and again, I met nice young ladies, but I did not know what I felt was that soulmate that I felt like I was looking for, that I heard people say. I would ask other gentlemen, because I was the kind of guy, I'm gonna say this right quick, I was the kind of dude that all of my friends were married. And when I went to their wedding, everybody would say, well, when are you going to get married? Or when is your time? And so it makes you go, okay, well, am I on the right schedule? I went to college, I did all of that, but am I on the right schedule as of educating myself and being the last of the Mohicans to walk down the aisle? Right. But I knew that no one was satisfying my heart with that. I didn't feel that contentment in regards to choosing a mate, if that makes sense. Am I talking too much?
No. Listen. I like what you're saying, because we often do come from different paths when we do meet each other.
Mm-hmm. And I think what I like about what Michael is saying, he is being vulnerable as a man. Because, oftentimes the girls get asked the question. I've never thought that the men get asked the question of when you getting married and how that affects them. So you just open up my world to have I asked that to men, and my world of, wow, men are bothered and they do have a time clock as well.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. And again, speaking as only a man, the clock sometimes it's not our clock, but it could be a clock that's imposed on you.
Oh, wow. Wow.
I'm assuming I'm talking to some people. Somebody gets that somewhere. I heard someone say I'm stepping on some toes and not apologizing. But it's I think that's what happens to a lot of guys, especially if they meet someone who's interested in a commitment. Everyone has their own agenda, whether they feel it's right or not, but everyone has a plan for their life. And then you link up with someone who has a plan for their life, and now what do you do?
Yeah, that's a lot to swallow. That I don't even.
Yeah, when you and I met, babe, I had just come out of a relationship. It was about the summer of 2003.
Three?
Yeah.
I'm bad with the numbers. Don't ask 2000.
Me. It might have been 2. It might have been 2002. You might be right. And I said to myself, that's it. No more relationships. Because it was a difficult one prior. And I was like, if I meet someone, I meet them. If not, I don't. But if I meet them, I'm not going to be serious. And then Herdim shows up and throws all that out the window.
I came with the game.
Oh, God.
So that happens to a lot of people. And here we are, almost 20 years later. And so I hear some of that in your story.
Yes.
And it's always interesting when we say, well, you're going to leave it up to God, because God may not always go the way you think he's going to go.
Right.
So, Vivianne, if you can tell me, because you alluded to giving Michael a hard time, but I thought Michael was going to say it and he didn't. So I got to come back to you. Tell me how you did hard for this brother right here.
I think I just challenged him a lot to, basically, I don't know, like if he said he was going to call me back, if he didn't call me back by a certain time, or if he, didn't call me back, I would challenge him and say, look, if you say you're going to call me back, you need to call me back. And I could tell he wasn't used to that.
No.
So no man is used to that. Like that. No one's used to that.
Yeah. And you know what? And this is not even about Michael or about me giving him a hard time. I think too, even though I probably went about it the wrong way sometimes, I think by the time I met Michael, I recognized my worth and I realized my worth. And I realized that you don't have to like me and I don't have to make you like me, because if I have to make you like me, then this relationship is not right for me. So if you like me, then you call me, especially if you say you're going to call me. And that's just one example, but that's one way that I did give him a hard time. But guess what? What was different about Mike was he actually really liked me and he wanted the relationship to work. So he started calling me.
Yeah. Hello. I'm getting chills just kind of thinking about it.
And there were even times, like, let's say if he got caught up, he would call me right quick and say, hey, I know I said I'm going to call you, but I ended up working a little bit later, whatever it was going on, or I'm on the other line with my mom or whatever. I'm going to call you back. I promise. So when he did that, I was like, okay, so when a guy actually really does want to be with you, he will meet, your standards, as long as your standards are reasonable. Of course, I'm not saying, go overboard or crazy, but he made me realize that I don't really have to do anything to make him like me. If a guy really likes you, then he's going to, do what he has to do to keep you.
This is so good, Vivianne, because oftentimes what I see women do is play the funk, like showing up help me out, baby.
Like unannounced?
No.
No. Let's just say ingenuine, not
No,
themselves. Inauthentic.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. And they'll show up not themselves, right? And when they show up not themselves, they show up their real selves after they walk down the aisle, and that's wrong. And so when Jameson and I first started dating, I knew my value. So when he was like, "Oh, do you want to go out?" You triggered this for me, and I was like, "Well, when you trying to go out?" "Oh, Saturday. I'm gonna let you know that you gonna pick me up on time, and when you pick me up, you're not honking me. You come into my door. You greeting my parents. My mama, I believe, was there. You greeting my parents. And what time am I gonna be home, sir?" And I think he said, let's say 10 o'clock. I said, when I say what time I'm going to be home, that means I'm not sitting in your car at 10. I'm in my house at 10.
It was brutal. It was brutal.
Hello, somebody. But there was these boundaries when you know your worth. And you're not trying to change your you're not trying to change your name to Mrs. Somebody to get your worth, baby. You're gonna put up firm rules, and if they want to keep coming, they'll keep coming. Now I'm going to you, Michael. What made you keep coming?
Oh wow.
Yeah, well, what was that? What was that like for you, Michael? Because let's do it gently, baby. You hit me.
I know. I'm just getting so excited.
Be nice.
I know. Listen, Linda. You know how they say, listen, Linda. Listen. I am getting so excited because I think Vivian hit. She stepped on some people's toes, and it shows to you. Vivian got a good man. I got a good man, and it was because we knew our worth, and we weren't willing to play. Yeah. Now, I'm not putting heat on Michael. I'm just excited, and I want my listeners to know your worth.
Yeah.
Right.
Know your worth.
Yeah. What was it about Vivian? What was that like?
Wow. Well, she definitely brought the heat. I appreciate that. But no, what made Vivian, I believe, special in my eyes, I would say just going back from the beginning, like I said, unfortunately, there was something already different about her. No shade to anybody, but when I first met her, just that first interaction. Well, first I have to back up and say we were introduced by a mutual friend. And so a mutual friend thought that, and I was totally against that because I felt like, that blind date stuff, that doesn't work. That doesn't work for me. And I was like, no, I know she ugly. You know what I'm saying? So I know that's very vain. That's very vain. And they're shallow. So we were hooked up. So it was like a sight unseen. You wouldn't buy a property unseen. Sometimes I see that on what is it? House Hunters, not House Hunters, one of those shows. But anyway, I wanted to know what she looked like. And so for me, trying to fast forward, when our mutual friend told us to go on social media to look at her picture wouldn't show up for me, ironically. So I'm like, okay, that's a sign. God is trying to block it. So that's a sign, So make a long story short.
God is trying to block it.
Make a long story short, I said, you know what, that's going to be rude. If she told me to reach out to her and she's expecting me to reach out, that's going to be rude. So I just introduced myself to her like, hey, how you doing? And Facebook Messenger, yeah. And I say, I'm a friend of yours. I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm sorry to disturb you, but I just wanted to say hey because she felt like we should meet. Just trying to be nice. Mm-hmm. And so the thing that I know you talk about difference. I'm trying to make this really quick. When we talk about difference, she and I was emailing or texting each other back and forth in Messenger. So I said to her, call me. Mm-hmm. Now, her dean just put it out there. And so why did I say that? Because when I said call me, she said, no, you call me. Mm. And that I was not used to. I was not used to that. And so that was the first challenge because I'm used to, I just was used to a certain, way of life, put it that way.
Right.
And so I called her, and the first time we talked on the phone, we talked for probably about 4 hours. We talked for a good little while. Wow. And so that first phone call, in which I'm not a phone person. So for us to have a good conversation, a very cordial conversation, just about, family, life, just a regular conversation. We're very nice talking to you. Have a good day. And then the next day I was like, okay, that was pretty nice. That was a nice conversation, but we'll see. So as time went on, we would just text each other, call, and then we did that for how long? Probably like maybe about probably a week or two, maybe about 2 weeks. We talked. And then one day I was at my aunt's house, and my aunt used to cook like on Sundays.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, baby, I'm so sorry. I did not cook dessert today. And so I text Vivian, and I said to her, I said, well, hey, would you like to meet up for a dessert date? I said, there's no, you don't have to dress up. Just come dress down, and we'll just have dessert at the Cheesecake Factory, and we'll just play it down. Nothing important, just play it down. And she said, sure. And so I went home. I was living by myself at the time. So I went home, got dressed, and I wore, and please don't judge, but I wore a white tee and some jeans. So I said, no, to just play it down. And I didn't say,
right quick. You can't tell a woman to dress down on the first date. You know that.
Listen, I didn't know anything about this interview because we don't send out questions. We let the interview kind of organically happen. But I got to insert this. There must be something about cheesecake, ladies, because that's where Jameson got me at the Cheesecake Factory. Right there at Sawgrass.
Yeah. Wow, same place. Same exact place. Wow.
You know what? When COVID is over, that's where we going to go meet up for lunch or dinner. Okay.
Yes, real talk.
Cheesecake Factory, feel free to send us a check for this, for this free commercial. We'll be waiting.
Yes. And so, so when I met her over there, and when we got there, I got there before she did. Okay. Mm-hmm. And, so I'm sitting there and I'm waiting. I said, you know what, man, this girl done stood me up, man. I'm just sitting there, man, this girl done tried, man. I wasn't used to that. So when she walked, I was sitting down, and I can tell you the exact same place I was in the Cheesecake Factory. But I was sitting in the booth, and when she came and she walked up, I was like, no, that can't be her. No, that can't be her. And I looked her from head to toe, which not to be superficial, but I just looked up and I was like, wow. And I was like, man, she's cute. In my mind, I said that. And so when she stood up, I stood up to greet her, and we talked that day until the place closed. And again, we had work the next day. And I'll make this quick. So when we got ready to walk out, I said, oh, well, where did you park? Now, I don't know if you know what the garage is by is that like Burlington?
Yes.
He parked way over there. So I'm go ahead and talk about that.
I'm a tour, okay? Every time I go to Sawgrass, I get lost. So I didn't want to park in the Oasis where Cheesecake was because it's too crowded. I hate trying to maneuver into spots. So I wanted to go somewhere where there were a lot of open spaces.
Yeah.
So that I could just park comfortably. So then I had to walk all the way from Burlington to the Cheesecake Factory.
Yeah, I'm going to fast forward because it'll get into the meat of what the question that was asked for me. And so when we got ready to go, I said, well, come on, I'll walk you to your car. I don't want you to walk too far. I said, that's kind of far, so I'll walk you. But then there was a median that was there. And so I stepped down first. And when she got ready to cross the median, I put my hand out and I said to her, I said, I don't want you to trip. I want you to watch yourself before you walk. And she said, this might sound corny. She said, oh, I think you're earning some points, Mr. Jenkins. And I know that sounds corny, but when I saw that smile, and I don't know if you like those dentist commercials, like that ting, like that sparkle in a smile.
Well, she had you.
I was like, there go right there. You just said it. I said, she got me. But I couldn't let her know it yet.
No, I know,
It was something about just how she said, I don't know, I can't explain it. I know this sounds corny, but I just, it's something in that moment that I knew there was something about it.
That's how it usually happens.
But you know what? I got to go back to this. For the ladies that are listening, it started with Vivian knowing her worth.
Wow.
I can't argue with that. I can't argue with that. When I talk to women, and for that matter, men, right? So let's not exclude men.
Well, I'm for the women.
I understand. I understand.
You can be for the men today, but this episode right here.
A lot of us don't have what we want because we don't demand it.
Wow.
we do not put that expectation. We don't make it clear that this is an expectation and leave it up to the other individual to either meet that expectation, to rise to that expectation, or to decide, nah, this ain't for me. You asking for too much. You doing too much. And guess what? That's okay. That is okay. Herdine put that expectation on me, and I had my own expectations of Herdine, and we made those decisions for ourselves. So at that point, we can't be like, I ain't know you was like this.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, because don't nobody want to hear that 2-3 years later.
Yeah.
So you guys, that seemed like it might have sealed the deal with the courtship. But even after that, though, Vivian, you were still kind of like making it hard for him.
I think I probably was in different ways, I guess. And I think a lot of people probably don't know this about me, but in some ways I have a little bit of a strong personality. So I definitely continue to give him somewhat of a hard time, only because, like I say, one, I recognize my worth. I didn't always go about it the right way because I do think sometimes I put my guard up because I was afraid he might hurt me, you know?
Okay.
So I didn't always get it 100% right, but that was really the root of my drive. It's just that I didn't want to, give in too easy or accept anything too easily because I didn't want to end up getting my feelings hurt. But
you were protecting yourself.
Yes, I was. But I think how he helped with that is, as the man, he really set the foundation for the relationship, and he let me know his intentions, that his intentions were not to hurt me, that his intentions were to be with me. So
he let you know that in word or action?
It with both. With both. Because no matter what, and I mean, I opened up to him about a lot, and no matter, what he found out about me, whether it was my attitude coming out, whether it was me being vulnerable with him and telling him things that might have, scared him away, he stayed. He stayed no matter what. There was nothing that I did or said to make him not want to be with me. And that was part of what helped me to know he was the one. Another thing that helped me to know he was the one is I'm not the most open, free person. I tend to be very reserved. I don't just open up around anyone. I'm not a social butterfly. And most guys I would date, they would kind of have to like fight and pull teeth to get me to talk. Some guys would probably describe me as being stiff, being reserved. One guy in the past told me he thinks I have a stick up I won't even say the word, but with Mike, I don't know. He just got me to talk freely. Like, I can't even believe I
put that game on.
Yeah. Well, you might have put the game on her, but it sounds like you made her feel secure.
Yes.
Wow.
Definitely. Yeah. Our first conversation over the phone, I can't believe how comfortable I was with him. There was something about him that just made it easy to talk to him, easy to open up to him. And it wasn't even like on a romantic thing. It was just like as a friend. Like I had a friend, like as if me and him were friends for years.
Yeah.
That's how comfortable I felt around him. And then even when we met in person, I went in very guarded and reserved, but even then, as soon as I sat down, the way he greeted me with a smile and he led me to, my seat, I just felt like, wow, he's nice, because I'm used to guys, having an ego, putting up a front, acting like they don't think you're cute, like they don't think you're all that. But he was just very nice and friendly. He smiled, and I love that about him. And something that I really liked about him was his smile. And this is kind of funny, because at the time, his profile picture on Facebook, he wasn't smiling. So I was expecting in person for him to be different. So I told him he needs to change his profile picture, because his profile picture, he's trying to be hard in his profile picture, and it doesn't match who he really is. Because really, he's a nice, friendly person who smiles a lot. But so anyway, that's just a little bit of a joke because I felt like he looked mean in his profile picture.
Well, the
But I was
question.
just always really comfortable around him from the
Good.
very beginning. And
Good.
that's something too that, let me know, okay, this may be the one.
Okay. And so it sounds like it was an easy transition to marriage for you guys. That's an assumption I'm making. I don't know. Is that the case?
I think it was something as far as transitioning, getting to the point of marriage, it was easy to make that decision. And the reason I say that, we both had these stipulations and made up expectations for how long we would date a person. So we both, ironically, had said before meeting each other, we would date someone for at least 2 years before getting engaged, right? We didn't even date for a year before getting engaged. We met in May of 2011 and we were engaged by February of 2012.
Okay.
So another thing I realized is when you know, you don't,
waste no time.
Right. You don't have to put a time limit on it. Once, you feel like you have God's confirmation that this is the person for you. And then once we did get engaged, we were engaged for about a year. So we got engaged February 2012 and we were married in February 2013.
Okay.
Now, Vivianne, I know you talk about the smile, but I had the opportunity of actually hearing Michael sing. That didn't get you.
Oh my God.
You know what?
That didn't get you,
I can
sis.
say that too. I didn't hear Michael sing until we were engaged. Was my first time hearing him sing. And to be honest, he didn't talk a whole lot about his singing. And even with me, I didn't talk a whole lot about my spoken word because, see, the thing was when he said he couldn't get my picture to come up, he was actually talking about a video because our mutual friend, she talked up his singing a lot to me. Like that was one of the, first things she told me. She was like, oh, he could really sing. And I can't say I wasn't interested in that, but I guess we weren't attracted to each other's talents. And then for him with my video, he wasn't able to see it, but this wasn't she's spoken word girl, he's a singer. We weren't attracted to each other because of our gifts, our talents. We were genuinely attracted to the person, and then supporting each other's gifts came later.
Good.
Which I think that's important too, because a lot of people do say that, and then a lot of people will say to Mike, oh, she sings, right? And it's like, no, I can't even hold a note. So I think that's weird to some people that he married someone who doesn't sing. I pray to God my children get their singing talents from him and not me. But yeah, we weren't attracted to that. Had nothing to do with our connection.
This is good. This is
good.
Our
talents and our gifts had nothing to do with our connection at all. That came later on. And now we do our best to support each other in those areas because, that's our job. So I tell him all the time, he need to let me be his manager for his singing, but he knows I'm crazy. I'll get crazy. So that's probably not a good idea. But yeah, and he's very supportive with my spoken word too, but that's not what drew us to each other at all.
I'm glad to hear that because often we are introduced to like representatives of each other.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then at some point your representative don't want to work no more. So you got to show up as who you genuinely are. And then you're like, wait, bring so-and-so back. I don't like who I'm meeting now.
Right.
So that's awesome. That is awesome.
And so in these 7 years, looking back, what have you all learned about marriage?
Oh, wow. For me, I think, this is such a transparent moment. I think for me, and for me, I'm going to back up and say, and forgive me for saying it, but I know prior to marriage, I had and because I got married, later in life, I had such an idea of what marriage was going to be for my wife. Okay. And what I mean by that is I was like, oh, when I get married, my wife is going to be doing this. She's going to be doing that. And I never pictured how much I needed to serve. Even after going to marriage counseling, I don't think we never even fathomed that the fact that you have to give back and serve your partner. Yeah. I was raised up very, very old school. My parents are like in their 80s. So because of that, being old school, I always saw the woman do this, the woman do that. And in my mind, no offense to the ladies, but I just saw women do the serving. We don't serve our spouse. And that's what I was thinking. But however, I learned very quickly in a marriage that you have to, even as a man, you have to serve your wife, serve your kids. So whether that comes into perhaps maybe washing clothes, washing dishes, I had no idea for men, we had to serve as well too. Please forgive me for saying that, but that's what it taught me. It taught me as a man, you have to service your wife as well. It's more to it than just paying bills. It's more to it than maintaining a good credit score. You have to minister to your wife. What if she has a day that she's not feeling well? Days that, matter of fact, my wife had 2 rough pregnancies. So all of the housework, all of the everything fell on, we had to work together. So that's something that marriage taught me, that it is about both, not 50-50, both of us working together to get to complete a job or get it done, if that makes sense.
Oh, it makes perfect sense, man. And I'm glad to hear you say that, because these are the kinds of things we talk about here on the podcast. There are these really confounded and like antique ideas about what should be and what should not be, and just like you have those ideas, Vivian perhaps was handed down some of these ideas, or we picked these up somewhere, and you're speaking to some broader ideas about men and manhood and masculinity. And listen, it's too much to delve into in this conversation, but that's a conversation we could have
when we meet at Cheesecake.
On and on and on. Man. Yeah, that serving piece is big. It's big.
It's what I got from that. It's not our idea of what we think serving looks like. Yes. It's our idea of what our partner.
Yeah, what does he or she need?
Yeah.
Yes.
That was good. That's good. That's a pearls of wisdom. Pow, pow.
That's for the other podcast.
Nah, I had to sprinkle a little grief on here. Pow, pow.
This is why you can't come every week. This is why you got to stay in your own podcast. Y'all can catch your own pals on her own podcast.
Call Redefining Grief. Redefining Grief.
But guys, listen, that was a profound enough answer that I don't even know that we need to dig any deeper. You guys do
have... let Vivian answer. She has a different perspective.
Oh, Michael can't speak for them?
Nah. She got her own voice up in these streets.
Excuse me.
So what has it been like for you, Viv?
Definitely same here. It's not about you. It's about your spouse and serving your spouse, which it's a lot, because you come in kind of thinking I, but it's not about you. It's about the other person. So I would say the transition into marriage, it was beautiful, but it was also somewhat of just a really big learning experience for me. I think that I was probably the less mature one in the marriage, not just because I'm a few years younger than him, because age doesn't mean anything, but more so because I'm the youngest of 4 kids, and I was used to people taking care of me and not taking care of other people, if that makes sense.
Perfect sense.
So I had to get used to that. And also, too, I had to learn how to be a team and not to get upset over like little silly things that are not worth getting upset over, because I struggle with attitude. I have an attitude problem. And something that I learned over these years is that my husband is my partner. We're on the same team. And I should always look at intentions before I jump off the deep, before, I get an attitude, because he usually does that, I'm not trying to say that, my husband is perfect, but I think he was always more mature in that area of, he's not so quick to get upset right away. Now, there are certain things that will make him upset, but for the most part, he doesn't get upset quickly. He's more slow to anger. Wow. So, like, let's say if I, don't pick up after myself sometimes, he won't say a word. Like, this was in the beginning of marriage. He won't say a word. He'll just say, you know what, she's tired, or, you know, she's pregnant, or she's taking care of the kids. I'm just going to cover my wife. Now, there might be sometimes if he don't pick up after himself, I won't say anything directly, but I'll say, oh, well, let me put your shoes and look like I'll make more of a big deal out of it. I'll be very petty about it.
Really?
Listen, Linda.
Girl.
You know how I call everybody listen when I'm about to tell on myself. Listen, Linda.
Right.
You know, what the podcast audience don't know is that Dr. J just looked at me. And he is the
I didn't say nothing.
he is the minimalist organizer. I'm talking about, he folds his socks. Everything is perfectly coordinated by colors.
Wow.
Like his laundry
and pattern.
He had to tell his wife, can you please not touch my laundry? I was like, good job. Hallelujah. So literally everything is like perfectly put together. And I'm just like, can you just put it in the closet? I don't care. Just put it in the closet. When I need to find it, I will find it.
Yeah,
Right.
right. Yeah, right.
But I have come to learn that I had to learn from him that there is some truth to organizing and putting some things in order, because you won't spend 30, 45 minutes looking for it. So it's funny how you say, you know, slow to anger. It's when God knows who you need
Right.
to build you up to where he needs you to be. He sends the right person. And Jay has been that person for me. I'm slow to anger now. I'm peaceful. Vivian, there's hope. You're going to be looking at yourself. I think I turned into my husband. But I'm slow to anger now. I am more careful. Now, it took years. We're almost 20 years in. You heard?
You're slower to anger now.
Slower to anger now. Because I'll pop you up in 5-4-2 seconds. You know, but you know, he used to send me to Walmart to do all the returns because he know I would not have it with the people. But now I'm like, I'm no longer that Walmart chick. You can't send me back if we ain't got the receipt. I ain't fighting with nobody. I'm not going back and forth. So he missing out on that. So get your receipts ready before you go to Walmart.
I just don't buy it.
You just don't buy it. So
Wow.
God really knows who you need to meet your best self. And that's what I got from you, Viv.
Yeah.
Yes, most definitely.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, you guys, you told us a little bit about this hashtag that you guys have. It seems like, I don't know if it's your mantra, your motto. If you want to tell us a little bit, tell the listeners a little bit about that.
Which hashtag, babe?
The
Instagram page, honey.
You know, I ain't all up on that social media like that. I'm old school.
You're starting to be, though.
So tell us about that. You said the Instagram and what?
Jenkins Fresh.
Jenkins
Fresh.
Jenkins Fresh.
You want to talk about it?
What's happening on there?
Basically, Jenkins Fresh is just our brand. It's just literally what we feel that what we stand for is basically representing the family, celebrating family. Just as we grow as family, fatherhood, motherhood. So basically, we just portray. Our goal is to portray positive images of what a family looks like. If that makes sense.
Oh, it makes perfect sense. Perfect sense. I love it. I love it. So if people want to catch up with you guys, that's where they would go. If people want to see what that image is and pick up some tips from you guys, they would go to Jenkins Fresh on Instagram.
Correct.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll be sure to include that in the show notes for this podcast. You guys have been a lot of fun.
Yes.
Oh, same to you.
Likewise.
I really enjoyed this conversation, and seems like we need to put something on the calendar for a dessert.
Not seem like we
yes,
do.
yes.
We can do happy hour.
Real talk.
No, we're serious couples. Like when we say we're gonna meet up with you, we really gonna meet up with you.
Yes.
Okay.
We would schedule it now while we're recording, but we don't want everybody showing up. And, shut the place down. So, guys, this has been a lot of fun. We thank you for agreeing to be on the podcast.
Wow.
You brought some.
For having us.
Yes, that's if you don't mind me saying, I want to say that on behalf of us, we are very honored We are honored. We are not, we're still in the process of growth and we're still learning every day.
Yeah.
So to sit on this podcast, just know that we're still growing. But the fact that we're here to team up and collaborate with you, that means a lot to us. We're very honored by that.
Thank you for saying that. We
Thank
appreciate that. That means a lot. We enjoyed thoroughly this conversation.
Yeah, this was good.
All right. So guys, we will meet up in the near future post COVID-19.
I know. Can't
Yes.
wait.
All right.
Yeah.
You guys take care of yourself, continue to love on each other, and be well.
All right. Same
Thank
to
you.
you.
Same here.
Baby,
That was good.
I was gonna say those was your friends, but they my friends now.
Oh, you
too.
trying to claim my friends now?
No,
You trying to claim my friends?
They's my friends now. Okay, I could take them as my friends. Okay, you know, some friends you don't want to claim, especially in public, but they all right. They sound like they got some sense.
Oh, they don't sound like they
Okay,
do
they-
got sense.
they got-
Correct yourself.
I stand corrected. They
Thank
got
you.
lots of sense.
Thank you.
Okay.
Woo.
Yeah.
What's the biggest takeaway for you?
Just, you know, being who, like, serving in the way that your partner needs to be served,
Oh, that was good.
you know, and we've lived that.
Mhm.
We've lived that. We've shared that, whether it's you working while I was a stay-at-home dad,
Mhm.
or whether it's, you know, me working when you're down,
Mhm.
or even serving the kids, right? Like, I hadn't thought so much about that, but as the kids get older,
Mhm.
you got to serve them in different ways.
Mhm. We talked about raising kids after getting, ending the interview with them.
Yeah, no, we had some private conversation that is none of y'all business, but just know they
I can't wait for lunch. I can't wait for this COVID to be over so we can meet up and
for
have
a lot of reasons.
for a lot of reasons. But the truth of the matter is, I think what I took away is that when a woman knows her worth,
Mm.
you hear me? When a woman knows her worth. When Vivian said that, I felt like it was time to start running around the church, running around my yard.
Yeah, hallelujah dance.
Yes, hallelujah dance, going up and down the stairs, rolling in the grass. When a woman knows her worth,
Yeah.
it attracts a good man.
Yeah. It starts with the individual.
Mm-hmm.
And then again, I will just throw this in there.
Mm-hmm.
Men too. As a man, when you know yourself and your values, you attract good and quality people.
Yeah.
So we're talking couples, we're talking relationships, and so, but let's not forget the individual piece. All right. So look for their information in the show notes.
Don't forget to follow the Jenkins
Fresh, guys.
Yes.
Tell them where you heard about them, you know, show them some love over at Jenkins Fresh, and then
on Instagram.
And when you're done or before, you know, holler at me, holler at us, Dr. Jameson Mercier, the Couples Council. Go over to mercierwellness.com. And now you can also, I mean, you heard it earlier, Dean sliding in some of her pals and her grief stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay. She's still welcomed here.
You can hear all about that on Redefining Grief podcast with yours truly, where I have you look at grief totally different and with style and grace. I love it. But another thing that I want to share is that Vivian is a spoken word artist. If you're looking for a spoken word artist, hit her up.
That's a mic drop. That's what that is.
Pow, pow.
Not a pow pow. It's a mic drop.
Oh, mic drop.
Mic drop is silence. Man, we rolling out of here. Dean always. Anyways, guys, this is the end of our podcast. Thank you for listening. This little series has been fun.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Be sure you leave us a review over in iTunes podcast. Let us know how you're feeling. Let us know if you're safe. Let us know what you want to hear about. And what I'm going to say is we got some exciting news coming up with this podcast. I ain't going to say too much.
No, don't give it them.
No. Y'all full off of this one.
Yeah.
So be safe. Take care of yourselves. And I'll catch you next time for another episode of the Couples Council. Bye now.
Hey everybody, thank you for listening to our mom and dad.
If you like them as much as we do, then click subscribe and leave a comment. But now they have to go because it's family time.
So go practice what you heard, and we'll catch you on the next episode.